Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and welcome back to Who'd Win and Why. And this time we got the Arkham Knight going up against Red X from the Teen Titans show. Now, these two characters are pretty much anti-heroes in their own right, and they're also both extremely dangerous. But which one would be more suited to kill the other in a battle to the death? Well, that's why I'm here. So, who'd win and why? Let's find out. So first I'm going to talk about the Arkham Knight. So if it wasn't obvious already, I am going to be saying who the Arkham Knight actually is. So if you don't know and you don't want to be spoiled or anything like that, please click away from this video because I'm going to say it like right now. So the Arkham Knight is Jason Todd, as in the second Robin, the second person to become Robin. This however is Jason Todd before he becomes Red Hood. So he doesn't have everything that Red Hood has, and he's also not as experienced, which will be obviously taken into account. But yes, this is essentially Jason Todd. I pretty much figured it was going to be Jason Todd as soon as I knew that there was an Arkham Knight type character. That was like my first guess. But anyway, so yeah, that will be taken into account. This is Jason Todd. However, even though he's not as experienced, he is still pretty dangerous. When it comes to this guy's strength level, he's strong enough to pin Batman down with 1 foot. And when it comes to his durability level, he's able to take bullets from non-fatal areas of the body. So like not to the head or anything, but like to like non-fatal areas. He's able to take bullets, and he's also able to fall 2 or 3 stories from the ground, like to the ground, and keep going. And that's also not including his durable suit, which obviously gives him even more protection. And when it comes to his stamina, not only does he have a healing factor, which probably isn't to the level of like Wolverine, but probably more to something like Spider-Man, maybe not even that, but still obviously rapid healing, which increases his stamina. So not only does he have that, but he's also able to fight for hours on end without tiring. So that's already some stamina right there. When it comes to his speed and reflexes and his agility, he has been said to be not only faster but also more athletic than Batman himself, which is probably due to Batman's more bulky physique than Jason Todd, at least at the time. His feats don't exactly line up to the comics. It's not exactly the same Jason Todd as the comics, but we're going off of what he can do in the game. So he has said to be faster and more athletic than Batman. He has been said to like do acrobatic feats that only like Olympic level athletes can do. And when it comes to his reflexes, his reflexes are pretty much said to be on par with Batman, and he's also fast enough to dodge bullets that are fired from Black Mask. And dodging bullets, remember, bullets at very least go pretty much 1 times the speed of sound, which to a regular person is pretty much instantaneous. So dodging bullets to any regard, no matter how fast they are, is already super impressive. When it comes to his fighting skill, remember, this is still Jason Todd, and he was still trained by Batman. Batman has called him a martial arts expert, so he does know a ton of martial arts, and he's highly proficient in pretty much all of them. However, he did have extensive training even after that, after he was revived, which was pretty brutal in my opinion. The training that he went under even after he left Batman. So needless to say, he is very good when it comes to martial arts. He's also a very good marksman. He does carry pistols, which can actually form together to make a sniper rifle. But yeah, he is very proficient in many different guns and everything like that. He's an expert marksman. Remember, this is still Jason Todd, who has been said to be one of the best marksmen in the DC universe. And this version has been said to be almost on par with Deadshot. And remember, this is still the same Deadshot that has really only missed Batman once, and that's the only time he's really ever missed, from what I believe, if you watch Bullseye vs. Deadshot, which was the first episode of Season 6 of Who'd Win and Why that I did. So if he's almost on par with him, that's impressive. That's some really amazing marksmanship skills right there. When it comes to what he actually has with him, as I said, he does have pistols, and they can form to make a sniper rifle, but also what he has is he also has some different batarangs, which he stole from Batman, like electric shock, knockout dart, grenade, even, I believe, like remote control batarangs, which I feel is pretty cool. He also does have, regular grenades and flashbangs, and even a grappling hook that he has with him as well. And as I've said, he does have guns, 2 pistols. And like I said, he is a great marksman with them in his hands. So yeah, those are basically what he has with him. He's also an extremely intelligent man. He has been said to have genius level intellect, kind of like Batman, and he's also been said to have the strategic mind of Deathstroke. Now, this doesn't mean that he has Deathstroke's mind, but like his strategic level is pretty much nearly the same as what Deathstroke has. obviously. But yeah, so, and remember, this is the same Deathstroke that can predict his opponent's moves as he's fighting them, and the same guy who can use 90% of his brain power while he's fighting. So that's, you know, and remember, like, this is like a military guy. He has, like, the intelligence of, like, a military commander. So needless to say, he's a very good strategist, even on the fly. The main weaknesses for this guy, however, is that, obviously, as I've said before, this is before he became Red Hood, and even though he was still Robin before he died, he wasn't Robin for like as much as Dick Grayson, I believe, so he doesn't have as much fighting experience as one might think he does. Also, even though this is like a different version of Jason Todd, and he does seem to be more calm when he's the Arkham Knight, this is still the same Jason Todd that, his rage gets the best of him. So obviously, you know, if he does seem to lose for a while, he might be able to. His opponent, if his opponent is smart enough, they might be able to, you know, outwit him and everything like that. Another thing I just want to say before I finish with Arkham Knight is that he also has, I believe in his suit, he has something which allows him to detect if there are any opponents in the area, which is obviously really good to counter anyone's stealth, probably, made just for Batman. But yeah, that's the whole point of Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight wanted to get revenge on Batman and has been training a lot to see if he can match or even surpass Batman. And obviously, you know, when it comes to speed and agility, possibly even strength, as he was able to pin down Batman, he's obviously succeeded in becoming better than the Dark Knight himself, at least this version of Jason Todd. So even though he might not have as much fighting experience, this is still a guy you do not want to mess with in a one-on-one battle to the death. Now let's move on to Red X. So if some of you guys didn't know already, I am using the second person that was Red X. I'm not using specifically Robin. However, this version of Red X is actually on par with Robin, so I obviously can use some of Robin's feats in order to predict at least what he's capable of. Some people are thinking that this is also Jason Todd. However, I personally don't think it's Jason Todd for a few reasons. One of them is that Jason Todd doesn't work in the exact same way that Dick Grayson does. Dick Grayson is the version of Robin that's in the Teen Titans show. He doesn't work the exact same way as him, and also, they seem to be about the same age, and if they're not the same age, they're very similar, and if they're not the same age, Red X is clearly older, as he calls him kid many times throughout, which is something that a younger person would probably not be doing. At this point in the story, since Dick Grayson is still Robin, I'm not sure how far that would have meant that Jason Todd would have gone. Obviously, the Teen Titans is different from the actual show, but the point is, I just don't think that this is Jason Todd. It just doesn't really match up that well, especially since it looks like he's older than Dick Grayson himself. Honestly, I don't think this version, this person, doesn't seem to match up with any other Batman character. I think that's the point. I think the point is to have this be a mystery, kind of like what happened to Tara at the end of the show. Did Slade do anything to her? How did she get out? Why does she not want to fight? And also, there was this one episode when Robin, he was trying to get a box back from a villain, and then he showed the rest of the Teen Titans without showing us. I think it's supposed to be something like that. I think it's more supposed to be something that you're not supposed to figure out. So I really don't have an answer for who I think Red X is, and so mostly what I'm going to be doing is scaling him to Robin, which is not something I like doing a lot, but it is something that looks like that's what this character is based off of. But anyway, let's get into what he can do. So physically, he's pretty much identical to Robin, and we know that Robin, if we're going from the comic books, is, he's at peak physical condition just like Batman. Obviously, he's not as strong because he's smaller, he's younger, but even so, that does mean he is pretty strong, and he is obviously extremely athletic. Obviously when Nightwing grows up, when Dick Grayson grows up, he's faster than Batman himself. Now, obviously this probably doesn't mean that he's this way when he's younger, but it still means that he's still extremely athletic and extremely fast. When it comes to how durable this guy is, obviously we've seen Red X that he can take a beating, but when it comes to the actual durability of the suit, obviously there's not really a way to figure out what the suit is made of, I don't believe. However, I'm assuming that's not as durable, as it looks like that's more so used for agility, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of heavy armor weighing him down. Also, just because the original purpose of the Red X suit was more so for gaining Slade's trust and more so for going undercover than anything else, than heavy protection. So while it probably does protect from a lot of different things, I'm assuming it wouldn't protect from something like a bullet to the chest or anything like that. That's just a hypothesis, however. I don't really know exactly the limits of the suit, but it's probably not to the level as Batman's suit or anything like that. that. That's just what I get from that. But he does seem to be able to fight for a long period of time. He does seem to have a lot of stamina with him. And, you know, like reflexes, he has been said to have great reflexes up to the level of Robin, which again is not exactly up to the level of Batman, I'm assuming, but still great reflexes. You know, physically he's identical to Robin, and we've seen Robin kick some serious ass. So I'm pretty sure that that's where Red X would lie as well. He's also been said to be an expert at fighting, probably around the same level as Robin. Again, not exactly sure how that compares to Batman, because Batman has, like, trained in, like, every single martial art known to man, but it still means that he's, like, doing a lot of flips everywhere he's fighting. He seems to be untouchable when fighting the other members of the Teen Titans, and that's saying something already. When it comes to, you know, again, his fighting skill, I just said that, when it comes to, like, the weapons that he has, a lot of his weapons are used specifically to take down the Teen Titans. So, you know, I believe he did have, like, an X thing that will cover Raven's mouth in order for her to stop casting spells. But, you know, it does still mean that he has an amazing versatility level. So, you know, he does have, like the Arkham Knight, he does have grenades, and he does have Exorangs, which are, like, his batarangs, kind of like, and there are different types, like remote control and, grenade and everything like that, you know, but it's just in the shape of X's, so it's like his X throwing shurikens or whatever. So, yeah, that's what he has, but he also has a lot more. He has a lot of different types of X's that he can use. I believe, like, some of his X's are like buzzsaws, some of them are like, I don't even know what else. Like, I believe there's, like, this blob of goo or something which can, it sticks to an enemy and will stick them to the floor, so it almost keeps them trapped. There's also, I believe, a giant X which can actually slam on an opponent, so, you know, that will also keep them trapped, assuming he can, you know, like, actually use it efficiently. And, you know, his belt, his utility belt, also allows him to teleport and to turn invisible, which I'm not even sure if some people remember. I'm not even sure how 100% the thing that I'm about to say, I'm not even sure how much of it is true, because I don't really remember this. You can tell me in the comments if this is actually true, but apparently, because of what his suit and everything that he does is powered by, he can actually trigger it to explode, which can actually, like, have an explosion leveling a city. I'm not 100% sure how much that is true. I just, like, read that somewhere. Again, I'm not sure how that is true. If it is true, or if you don't remember it either, tell me in the comments below. But apparently he does have his own self-destruct system, which he can activate should he feel that he's in danger. So that's pretty amazing, I'd say. That really gets, if he wants to kill the enemy, if he, like, really needs or wants to kill the enemy, he certainly can. It will cost him his own life, but he certainly can. Like, when it comes to his weaknesses, and by the way, I didn't mention every single thing about, like, his X's. Some of them, they aren't, some of them, they're just not coming back to me, but I know that he does have an amazing versatility level. He does have a lot of different X's. He probably has, like, some flashbang X's or whatever. And again, he did, he did have a lot of his, abilities and his different, like, throwing X's or whatever to counter the Teen Titans, which means that it is a very versatile, series of X's. His main weaknesses, however, is that he is a thief above all else. He is basically just looking out for number one, and even though he is very stealthy and he is pretty smart when it comes to hacking and everything like that, because, you know, you would need to be if you're trying to steal very important things, you know, he's a thief above all else, and he doesn't have a lot of fighting experience. Sure, he is, like, on the same level as Robin, and he did fight the Teen Titans and even beat them and beat Robin. You know, he did need to prepare for all of those. He needs the weapons, even though it does mean that he still has those weapons and they're very powerful weapons, it means that he's still gonna, like, he would need to prepare, and he likes to prepare if he wants to actually go hand to hand, and, you know, like, in an actual one-on-one fight. And, you know, even though he did work with the Teen Titans to fight powerful opponents, he still needed the Teen Titans' help for that kind of thing. But even so, he doesn't seem to take the fight as seriously. The main difference between Robin and Red X is the personality, also what they have with them, what they carry with them, but the personality, it's just, Red X doesn't seem to take it all too seriously and sees it as more of a game, which is another thing that could trip him up later in the fight. But overall, this is a very deadly killer. Well, maybe not a killer, but, you know, he is extremely deadly, he's extremely versatile, he's pretty unpredictable, and it is still something, he's a character that you're not going to want to mess with. You know, he's on par with Robin, and Robin can take down the Teen Titans, so that's already saying something right there. Red X is someone that you do not want to mess with. So now trying to figure out who would win between these characters. When I first heard this fight, I honestly didn't know who would win. I didn't think I really knew enough about these characters in order to give an answer anyway, so after looking more into it, I do personally believe I know who would win. It's a fairly close fight, however, I do personally believe I know who would win this fight, and that person, this may surprise some of you, is the Arkham Knight. Now, I already know what some of you guys are going to be saying. Oh, you just said, you know, he has a self-destruct thing. And yes, I did say that, and I will get into that closer to the end of my explanation. But before I do any of that, please just let me explain why I believe that Arkham Knight would win. First of all, when it comes to strength, endurance, and durability, I personally believe that Arkham Knight triumphs in all those areas, and here's why. First of all, we've seen that Arkham Knight is able to pin Batman down with nothing but his foot. That's some strength there, as Batman is able to bench press like 1,000 pounds, maybe over 1,000 pounds, which is pretty dang strong. And he was able to break free from Batman strangle holding him after he ambushed him, meaning he wasn't even prepared for that, and he was able to break free, which means that he's at least as strong, probably stronger than the Dark Knight himself, at least this version of Jason Todd. And when it comes to his endurance, obviously, as we've seen, he does have a healing factor. It will allow him to keep going, and that means if Red X does something very damaging to him, he can still heal from that quicker than Red X would be able to do if he does something to him, you know, if he does a similar thing to him. So, you know, and again, he seems to be able to fight for longer than Red X, or at least we haven't seen Red X fight for hours on end. You know, maybe he'd be able to, in fact, he probably would be able to, but we haven't seen him do it, so it's hard to say. And when comparing the two suits, you know, comparing durability, I personally do believe that Arkham Knight's suit is better than Red X's suit. As I've said, Red X's seems to be, it was originally designed to be more of a athletic type thing. You know, he's able to move around a lot in it, so it seems to be a lot more like Robin's suit, probably made of the same material, which isn't as tough. His suit isn't like so tough in the Teen Titans show, and also, you know, it was more so used for undercover purposes. However, Arkham Knight, like I said, his whole point is to try to stand up to the Dark Knight, Batman himself. So at very least, I would assume that his suit is, you know, the same material, or at least as tough as Batman's suit. Again, that's more of a hypothesis, but it seems to work here, as, you know, Arkham Knight wants to get revenge on Batman, and is trying to be better, or at least as good as Batman himself. And again, as we've already seen, you know, he can survive bullet wounds to non-fatal parts of the body, so his suit would obviously give him even more protection than that. So it probably is bulletproof, you know, that's just my my assumption. His suit just looks more durable than Red X's. Again, more of a hypothesis, but I don't really know the exact durability limits, but even so, he does still have the healing factor in case it does seem to malfunction, or it just doesn't stack up to whatever Red X throws at him, and his endurance already seems to make up for it. So when it comes to strength, endurance, and durability, I do personally believe that Arkham Knight takes those he takes those advantages. When it comes to speed and reflexes and agility, this one's much closer, but again, I'd have to give that to Arkham Knight. Even though he does have a heavy suit weighing him down, as we've seen, he does seem to be more, he seems to be more fast and more agile than Batman. He's pulling off you know, athletic and speedy feats that we haven't seen Batman even do that much. And again, it has even been confirmed that this version of Jason Todd is faster than Batman. So even if we do have a suit weighing him down, at very least, I'd say he would be as fast as Batman and as agile as Batman. And his reflexes, we already know, are on par with the Dark Knight. And he's able to dodge bullets. Even though maybe Red X would be able to dodge bullets, he seems to be more on par with Robin, which is great. The Teen Titans version of Robin is amazing. He's doing some crazy things out there, and Red X, you know, he's able to do the same. You know, that's crazy. However, it just doesn't seem to stack up to what Arkham Knight has done. Overall, when it comes to the physical limits of these two characters, it seems abundantly clear. Like, as soon as I heard about this fight, it would seem abundantly clear that Arkham Knight would have the advantages, and here's why. Arkham Knight, you know, he is designed to take on Batman, and Batman is already super strong. He's pushed himself to the limits of the human body, and Batman is already much older than Robin, and I'll get into that more later. But you know, it just seems that Arkham Knight is able to take on Batman, and it seems to be possibly stronger and definitely faster and more agile, maybe more durable than Batman himself. And then we have Red X, who doesn't seem to be as durable or as strong or as fast, and that's simply because he's scaling to Robin. And even though this Robin is amazing when it comes to fighting and everything like that, you know, it's just not to the level of Batman. This is still Dick Grayson Robin when he's still pretty young. We're not even comparing him to Nightwing. We're comparing him to a younger version of Robin. So this is more or less, and some people, I'm probably going to trigger some people just by saying this, but this is more or less Batman versus Robin. You know, some guy that scales more, it obviously doesn't completely line up to that, but, you know, like Batman, you know, someone who compares strongly to Batman versus someone who compares strongly to Robin. So physically, just because Jason Todd seems to be older than what Red X is, at least at this point in their stories, it looks to be that he's older, and he's definitely stronger, probably faster, and, you know, just everything, physically, he seems to have at least the slight advantage in pretty much everything, and slight is probably lowballing it for Jason Todd, in my opinion. When it comes to fighting skill, however, this one I can't really give an answer for that one. Some of you may argue that Arkham Knight would have the better advantage because, you know, he's trained in pretty much every fighting style and went beyond that after Batman, but we've also seen, you know, like, the Teen Titans version of Dick Grayson is amazing when it comes to fighting, and we've seen that, you know, Red X is pretty much on par with that. So I don't really want to give an answer because, you know, Robin and Red X are doing some crazy things, and may possibly even better than Arkham Knight. It's hard to say because Arkham Knight is still training it's hard to say. So I'd say probably, just to be on the safe side, they're about even in fighting skill. And when it comes to who's smarter, I definitely have to go with Arkham Knight on that one as well. Remember, Arkham Knight is a much better strategist. You know, obviously it looks like Red X is like going in swinging. He likes to have fun with this. He doesn't take it as seriously. And remember, he's more of a thief, and he's more so just looking out for number one. So he doesn't seem to strategize all that much, at least not nearly to the extent as Red X does. No, sorry, not Red X, Arkham Knight does. Remember, he has the strategic mind of Deathstroke, and that's already amazing. And for some of you who are saying that, you know, he doesn't have a lot of fighting experience, remember, like, Red X by himself doesn't have a lot of experience fighting either. Sure, he fought all the members of the Teen Titans, but again, he needed to prepare specifically for them. And even though that does mean that he can use them effectively against, Arkham Knight, I just don't see him use, like, it just, he would be much better if he prepared for this guy. And remember, since this is more of a Batman-like character, I'm not sure if he might have changed his weapons specifically to combat Batman. So yeah, that's basically where I see that Arkham Knight seems to have most of the advantages. Also with his weapons that he does have batarangs, he does have guns, and personally, because I don't believe that that Red X's suit is bulletproof, and because he has like marksman, like he's one of the best marksmen in the DC universe, and because he, you know, almost rivals Deadshot, I feel that one well-placed bullet could possibly end Red X right then and there. However, the biggest advantage that Red X has over him, and this is a very big advantage, maybe one of the biggest advantages that either one has over the other, is versatility. This guy has a ton of versatility, he has a ton of X's, and this does make him slightly unpredictable. However, we do know that this guy, Arkham Knight, can dodge bullets, and his suit also seems to be durable enough to probably counter everything that he has. Maybe not the adhesive blob type thing, but most of the grenades, I'd say that he would be able to withstand. He does, like, another thing that I forgot to mention about Red X is that he also has his Explosive X, which is almost like the equivalent to the explosive gel that Batman has, but even so, I just don't think that, you know, he would be able to get that lucky. Remember, this is a guy that's faster than Batman, that can dodge bullets, he has great reflexes. So basically what I'm trying to say is that I believe that his suit would be able to withstand pretty much nearly everything that Red X could throw at him, and his agility and just his reflexes would be able to dodge the rest. So I feel like, you know, it would be really hard for Red X to hit him, especially considering that he doesn't have a lot of experience actually one-on-one fighting. And, you know, when it comes to his abilities, you know, his guns and everything like that, he seems to be able, I think that he would have a much easier time hitting Red X, and also he just seems that he has guns. And again, I don't believe that Red X's suit is bulletproof if we're scaling it to Robin's suit. From what I remember, Robin's suit in the Teen Titans show is not bulletproof. At least that's what I've gathered from it. Now, the biggest thing that some of you have probably been thinking about is what about the self-destruction thing? Again, I'm not even sure if it's 100% true. It might be. But even if it is, I'm pretty sure Red X has to be alive for him to actually activate it. I might be wrong on that, but that's what I've gathered from it. And personally, I do believe that's how most of these fights would end. I feel that Arkham Knight would get an advantage on Red X. However, Red X would like self-destruct them both, and most of the time it actually would end in a tie. That's how I see it anyway. Again, this is all just my opinion. Like, none of this is like confirmed that like, oh, this would happen. I just want to remind you guys about that. However, then we have the two other options. So that's the one option that I feel would happen most of the time. The two other options options that are possible to happen is that Red X would beat Arkham Knight even without having to use it, or Arkham Knight would kill Red X before he had the chance to use it. And personally, because of all the advantages I said, I feel that the second reason is just more likely to happen. He basically beats him physically in every regard. He seems to be much smarter and seems to use his abilities more to his advantage, his smarts to his advantage, and because he's more agile, I feel he'd be able to either take or just avoid everything that Red X would throw at him, in my opinion. And because he has like guns with him, a sniper rifle, pistols, and grenades, I'm not sure how much of that Red X, he might be able to dodge for a while, but again, this is a guy that rivals Deadshot when it comes to his marksmanship. And I personally feel like he would be able to tag Red X with a well-placed bullet at one point or another. Not to mention that because Arkham Knight has this thing that allows him to sense wherever his opponent is, even though Red X is great with stealth and he has teleportation and invisibility, it's not going to help him for long as A, you know, he's able to sense where he is, and B, he's going to be able to predict his opponent's moves. So again, he might, the more that Red X throws out his things, everything that he has, I personally feel that you know, he's going to be able to read Arkham Knight's going to be able to read what Red X is doing and counter it. So basically, the only advantage I feel that Red X has over Arkham Knight, in my opinion, is basically just versatility. And because of his suit and because of his reflexes, I feel that's not going to pose that much of a threat to him. And because he just seems to be, like, physically he's better, and because he seems to have, you know, guns, and he just seems to be able to, like, he's going to be smarter, he's going to be, like, smarter in the battle, I just feel that eventually, it might take a while, but I feel that eventually Arkham Knight would come out the victor. So, in my opinion, the winner is the Arkham Knight. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I personally found this episode pretty fun. This wasn't an episode that I really hadn't considered before, but it actually is pretty cool when you really think about it. You know, these two characters, they do have a lot in common, you know, but again, as I've said before, it seems to be more of a Batman type character going up more against a Robin type character. I hope that makes sense from what I've said. And again, you guys can disagree. If there's something I maybe missed, or if there's something you think that would change the fight that I just didn't bring up, tell me in the comments below. I'd like to know. I don't know everything about Arkham Knight. I don't know everything about Red X. Even though Red X didn't have a lot of screen time and there's not that much to analyze, there's probably still something that I missed. So tell me in the comments below what you thought, and what I might have missed, or maybe what I got wrong, or who you think would win. If you like this video, please give it a like. I always appreciate the likes. Comment down below everything I said before. If you want to comment down more episodes that I could possibly do, again, if you watch the update video that I put out, you know, obviously, I might not be able to use them because I do already have 10 episodes that I could use, and if you have suggested a lot before, chances are at least one of them is in there, so if you want to suggest more, you can, but chances are I'll just, like, push them to the side because I already have something. And, you know, if you could subscribe, that would obviously be so great. That would really help the channel out. That would let me know that you guys are liking these videos and you want more. If you like what I do, you know, you could press the subscribe button. It would really help me out, and I would love to have you guys along for the ride. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, because your review just means everything to me. And next time on Who Would Win and Why, we got Batman Beyond going up against RoboCop. See you all then.